All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because that's where I learned the truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh Shai. And pretty much this is going to be a brief video, just showing you, Daniel 7:25, what the Edomites have done by changing, by going from a lunar calendar, which is the right calendar, to changing it to their liking, to the Julius calendar, then the Gregorian calendar that we use today. And now even the different weekdays is pagan: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is based off of Greek and Roman pagan gods that don't even exist. So this is the type of world we living in, a pagan world ruled by the Edomites. Job 9:24. The earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, and according to the scriptures, the way how we know that the Edomites is the wicked, the seed line of the so-called white race is the Edomites in the Bible, is according to Malachi 1:4. So I'm just going to show you something real quick, because I forgot to add this in the video I just did, dealing with daylight savings time. Now, daylight savings time, it was not, the idea of daylight savings was first conceived by Benjamin Franklin. The guy that you see on the $100 bill. It says portrait at the right, which this is talking about the article. Just going to show you a picture of him, I'm assuming, during his sojourn as an American delegate in Paris in 1784, and an essay, an economical project. All right. So the first clocks, it changed in 1916. It says, however, though Willett proposed this in 1907, Britain failed to adopt the idea until 1916, a month after Germany had taken up the idea. All right. So daylight savings time, as written on Wikipedia, it gives you the origin of it. It says George Hudson proposed the idea of daylight savings in 1895. So the first person that had the idea was Benjamin Franklin, but in 1895 the idea came back up again by George Hudson. It says the German Empire and Austria-Hungary organized the first nationwide implementation starting on April 30th, 1916. All right. So this is where this comes from, and this matches up with the scriptures, because they first did this in the Greek Empire, and then the Romans adopted the same idea as the Greeks, both empires of Edomites, the seed line of the so-called white race. And then here today, it just got even worse. They started introducing daylight savings time, as well as these different holidays. All right. So this is Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of times. So that's what he did. He changed the times, he changed the laws, he changed from the ancient way of doing things, the lunar calendar, to the Julius, to the Gregorian calendar. And then he added daylight savings time, as well as all these different holidays. And these Edomites is prideful because they think they're the Most High. They think that they can, constantly change things to their rules and regulations and their constitutions and their way of doing things and their own laws that they decree on the people, no matter what country you're in. And they're not going based off of the right way of doing things, which is the Bible. This is one of the ways we know that the biblical Israelites are not the seed line of the so-called white race. All right. The biblical Israelites, the seed line is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that's been scattered through the four corners of the earth. We make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And none of our forefathers, never did that, except for Constantine. Constantine is wicked, but I'm talking about, the ones that was in their right frame of mind. So this is Psalms 119 and 126. It is time for thee, Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. Yeah, they don't go according to the law, statutes, and commandments. They follow the Babylonian Talmud. They follow their own rules and regulations, which is pride, which is going to bring me to my next scripture, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 3. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, which the cliffs of the rock, meaning what? Mount Seir, the Edomites, because that's their homeland that they got from the Horites, that they killed the Horites and took their land, because the Most High gave them that land. Just like how he gave, the land of Israel, the promised land, to the Israelites, right? That Joshua and Caleb went in there and slew the Canaanites that was in that land. Even though they was bigger than us in stature, the Most High was with us, and we took them down, because that land was ordained to us, and really it belonged to us, going back to the days of Genesis, the 5th and the 6th chapter. The Garden of Eden, that was eastward in Edom, that's really in the land of Israel. So that was our land anyway, by destiny. So we had to go back and take that land, because there's nothing new under the sun. Reincarnation exists, according to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 through 11. All right? So it's similar. So when you read Deuteronomy 2 and 12, and really Genesis, the 36th chapter, it'll tell you that. The Horites, they used to dwell in Mount Seir, and then the Lord gave Mount Seir to the Edomites. And then you got the famous, Caucasus Mountains, and even during the time of the Dark Ages, or what people call the Byzantine Empire, which there's nothing Byzantine about it, because if I'm not mistaken, the word Byzantine, it means, backwards. There's nothing backwards about the Israelites ruling, and they call it the Holy Roman Empire. All right? We had the Edomites in captivity and subjection for 1,000 years. And it tells you that in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, from verses 1 through 3. And it goes into that in the book of Job, chapter 30, verses 1 through 8, if I'm not mistaken. So they feel prideful, because the Most High put them back in power back during the time of the Renaissance, which the word Renaissance means rebirth. The rebirth of the Edomites coming back into power again. And what did they do? They started changing times and seasons. They started putting their image up as the Most High. So the scriptures tell you that pride goeth before destruction in the book of Proverbs. All right. So that's their mindset, whose habitation is high. That's why these buildings are high. They got these tall-ass skyscrapers to remind them of being in Mount Seir in the Caucasus Mountains. It says that say it in his heart, meaning his mind, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because that's how the Edomites feel. They've been ruling since the Renaissance era, which is over 700 years now. They've been ruling for a long time. So they're like, who's going to bring me down to the ground? We could change, the calendar. We could change the ancient way of doing things. We could make up our own stuff, our own way of life. And that's what they did. But they're going to have a rude awakening, because there's going to be divine intervention by who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, which his true name is Yahushua. Because they really think they're the Most High. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. And that's what they did. They exalted themselves above the Israelites, to the point where they got the world thinking that they actually are the Israelites. But that's slowly being exposed as a lie. It says, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So they want to be like the Most High, by changing these different times and seasons. To change the traditional way of doing things to their westernized Greco-Roman ways. So hopefully, this was edifying. Shalom.